Hi there. I turned the camera on early just because Miss Starlight decided to come up and say hi. And here is that kitty. I don't know if she'll turn around for you. She's very special. She might and she might not. There. And so you see Starlight. And you even hear her. She's got a little wee bit of white somewhere on her chest here and there, just a white hair. Other than that, she's a black kitty with golden eyes. Okay, friends, I have a journal for you. I've gotten behind in the recording, but certainly not in the journaling. I've got plenty of them. This one goes back to the 15th. And it was the second one of that day. The Mayan day was one storm. So from January 15th, come lucid in your life. Reviewing the gods in Antiquity and the scriptures. Are they ETs? I'm called back to the journal, this time with a different theme by far. Instead of clear-eyed vision of terrorism and war, let's look at the ancient ones. Those whom mankind called gods. I warn you though, this won't be any easier to look upon than the previous topic. Time draws short now. Maybe that's why things are coming out so very clear. Up until now, I've felt it best to be silent on some things, to let people come into them on their own. Each heart beats true and leads in the pathways of truth. We may come to it from vastly different angles of perception, but truth is still one, and it still agrees in its heart, in the heart. So I won't be saying what many minds and hearts before me have come to. Well, I won't be saying any different than what many minds and hearts before me have come to. So let's get it over then. Let's take a look at ancient gods, little g. By now, the vast majority of those seeking after truth will have come to realize that much of what's in mythology is actually real. Many of the places and the beings spoken of there, these did exist and still do in time that's eternal and simultaneous. So let us remember to be and stay in heart now. And remember, we are brethren. In the midst of our remembering, let's look upon a book from ancient India, the Mahabharata. And pardon my pronunciation, it might not be right. Have you ever heard of it? What's clearly revealed in its passages, even drawings, may be one reason those in Asia are amused at our naivete regarding these ancient beings, these ancient gods, what we may call our ET space brethren. We have a bigger family, and they are included, but I get ahead of myself. Told in the Mahabharata are the tales of ancient space battles, of ET warring against ET and against mankind here on the earth. Our ancient ancestors saw so much of this and left many records for us. Most such records have been secreted away in the Vatican Library and private collections. Still, this book is too widely known to be removed from circulation. Instead, it was left, but ignored, its story shoved aside, scorned as myth and nonsense. Typical of how they still handle anything ET related. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? This book talks of Vimanas, which are UFOs. There are both tales and drawings, even statues of our ancient space brethren, clearly suited in helmets and space gear, wearing breathing apparatus. It's so amazing this is neither widely discussed nor even known in the West. Those in India well know it, though. Little wonder they must chuckle at us in the West with our childish rejection of any ET aspects to our ancient past. To them, these things are common knowledge. Oh, my friends, we have so much to learn here in the West. Let us be both humble and in heart to learn from those who know, who have always known. Erich von Däniken, with his Chariots of the Gods, did so much for the world in presenting his widely divergent view on the past, on the ET presence he saw so clearly there. He may not be right about everything he brings up, of course not, but surely from the vast wealth of evidence he brings forward, some minds are swayed and opened. The possibilities are vast, but not to a closed mind. He's served us well and taken the brunt of society's displeasure that he should venture so far outside of the sheepfold. How dare he? Kudos to him. May we all have even half his courage. Meanwhile, let's take that very courage and have a look much closer to home. What about the gods of the Bible? Old Testament and New Testament gods there seem a bit different, don't they? Have you the courage to take a look at that? Here's what I'll say before going any farther. I've mentioned to you in previous journals how I broke off with God for a while. I found my advancing heart experience no longer accorded with my understanding of Source or God that I had grown up with. For me, the only way to resolve it was to break cleanly away from all that I knew, to start fresh again, to be open. My heart was making direct connection with divinity. I was having direct experiences of that, capital T. So many old beliefs were crashing and burning all around. I was learning to let go, and this thing around God would be the very biggest test in my life of that. How far was I willing to go? All the way. That was the answer. It had to be the best, the purest, and the highest truth I could approach. Nothing less would be sufficient anymore. No more second best. No more taking my ideas and understandings at second hand from another. It didn't matter the source, be that academia or religion. Nothing whatsoever would stand between me and my God, me and Source. I share this with you because before this time in my life, I wouldn't have had any real courage with which to approach this topic I'm bringing up. Sure, I could look at possible ET presence on a more ancient Earth, but challenge the Bible? Not so much the Bible, but the way we understand it. Challenge God or my concept of that? Here, courage faltered. It just didn't feel at all comfortable. Thus, if you haven't gone through such a period or something similar in your life, you may not be able to relate to this, and that's okay. Truly it is. It's fine to skip over this journal. Maybe one day you'll come back to it. There's no rush. For those going forward with me, here's what I propose. The God of the Bible in both the New and Old Testaments is not really the Holy One herself, himself, itself, prime creator, our original source. And if this is new to you, please sit with that for a moment there in your heart. Feel inside for your true response to this. Leave mind quite out of it. You have nothing to fear. God is not judgmental. Now, back to my past for a moment. During that time when I finally had the courage to dump all I thought I knew about God, I came to some pretty basic and very important understandings, and one was this. For the God who is the true prime creator of all that is, that one is not concerned with what we think of her, him, it. She's quite above such concerns. They're minuscule in the extreme to her, him, it. Let's just call it her, okay? In this 1,000 or so journals that I've uploaded here, we've been taking the walk together of stepping back from being quite so identified with the body and the mind, with everything 3D. Well, just imagine how far disidentified the Holy One would be. It is pathetic and immature to so project our own human failings on this one, our own feelings, thoughts, characteristics. It's quite absurd. Anthropomorphism. We've been given a very low bar for viewing our God, what is shown in the scriptures. This is an immature and even an immoral being in many cases, judging by the actions. The record, the stories are right there to be read. I don't think I need to cite chapter and verse. A jealous or angry God is pure nonsense. That is one very dualistic divinity. Anthropomorphism. It's not prime creator whose peace, purity, and love ride far above such childish behavior, such as killing every man, woman, child, and even animal, and their young in the city taken over. Please, friends, what kind of a real God would indulge in such things? It is simple enough to encounter true divinity. Go into your heart. Spend some time there. There is a direct tie, and to the extent you can leave your mind out of it, you can have direct contact with Source. It's not like mind thinks it will be, though, so have no expectations. Come in empty. We can all sit under our own vine and fig tree, my friends. We're all divinely taught. We've just lost contact with that, that's all. It doesn't go with all the negative programming we've received about ourselves. And being in mind, particularly left brain, chases it out. Well, it doesn't chase it away, but it keeps us away. The trysting place is in our heart, not our head. That's just how I've found it to work. There is an ultimate awesome divinity we approach there. Doing so, drawing closer and closer, requires that you shed the old garments, the old remnants of self. Your old beliefs, in other words, have got to go. Keeping them is a rejection of this awesome purity. Our whole sense of worthlessness, of sinfulness, surely gets in the way. We can't come into the presence in such dirty garments as that. They've got to be clean. Out of respect for those to whom this is a brand new idea, I think I'll stop it here. Some things are better taken in piecemeal, bit by bit. That's how our surrender goes too. It's possible to both walk this path inward and still function in the world. Done all at once, it would overwhelm our ability to maintain any sense of normalcy. It's not that normalcy is all that wonderful or valuable. One day we'll be done with it all. Going in by bits and pieces is much easier, though. It's no small thing that we're doing here. We're getting rid of literally thousands of years of both history that was false and the conditioning and programming that were a part of it. We're breaking quite out of the old mold, that's for sure. Shortly, we won't be recognizable at all to our old circle of acquaintance anyway. We're being made ready instead for the really old circle of friends to come back into our lives, those from spirit, those from endless shared lifetimes together, though we may not have met them face to face in this one yet. We all have ET friends, you know. Quite a few of us have great surprises in store, even regarding our own identity. What would you do if you found out you're a Pleiadian, a Sirian, an Andromedan, or whatever? How would that sit with you? Would you be open to it? Remember, friends, we are not these bodies that we're using here. They're just a costume for our current part in the grand drama. As we step back more and more from being so identified with who and what we were taught that we were, we make room for the truth, capital T. Fancy that, for the truth. Hey, I'm all for it, and so are many thousands around the globe right now here with us. We all came in together, determined to make this thing happen, this mass ascension. We're leaving 3D behind or morphing it and taking it with us. I don't know exactly. It's time to begin stepping out of character, out of the human character we've been playing, some of us for so very long. As we stick close to heart during this process, we'll find ourselves truly valiant. Courage, the word itself says it all. Cour is heart. And age is age, the coming of age of the heart. There is no fear in there, nor is there any judgment at all. Infinite peace, endless joy, and a calm contentment that is boundless. These await you, unless you live in them already. As we all join up in our own heart with the divinity present there, we're also joining up with each other. Our ultimate oneness is also a property of heart. I am that. Each one can say this about each and every other one. There is no separation. There is no other at all. We're going home, and we're doing it together. We're taking as many along with us as possible, as are willing. So we're speaking out now. We're casting everything to the wind. We're speaking our truth. We're living our truth more and more each day and even at night. You're more true in your dream state as well. Have you noticed? You can come lucid in your dreams, and that's good. Now, I call you to come lucid in your life.